All right, good viewer, here we're going to start building this little guy. And to begin, I'm going to show you the difference between 1974 twin-engine aeroplane and a modern twin-engine aeroplane. Granted, this is a beautiful kit. It was given to me by a good friend in Australia, Fred. Thanks, Fred. And it's got a lot more sprues and more detail, all that. It's lovely. But it's amazing to me when you look at the old kits and the new kits, just the difference in the box. It's the same size airplane, essentially. Anyway, that's just an interesting thing. But these, again, were made for a young person to put together and have fun. They weren't meant to win contests at the time. And, you know, that is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to win a contest. You're just out to have a good time. And so when you think of that, these are just supposed to be enjoyable. And so what I'm going to do with this is, you know, build it and see how it goes. And I will actually follow the directions a little bit. I am going to modify things along the way a tad because I do want to do some things a little different. I do want to add some detail to it. I am going to add some panel lines to it and get rid of some panel lines. But overall, let's just kind of build it. It's weird to have weird tools here. I got my X-Acto blade like normal, but I got some snippers to pull things off with a sprue, which I used to laugh at, but they're actually very useful. I got my little flowery thing to take off the file, to take off edges. And I got this weird stuff called plastic glue, which, again, I never use. But to begin with, it looks like what we do really is put the interior together, such as it is. And so, and you're going to use the fuselage as well. And it looks like this is a rear portion here that's going to be for the rear gunner. It's probably supposed to have a radio and stuff in there, which I'll put in later. We will need the fuselage, and we will need the basic, very basic we will need the very basic cockpit floor, which again will change. I will cut some things off of it. Oh, look at that. I'll cut some things off of it, etc. Like the first thing I'll do, I happen to know that the rudder pedals are kind of don't look anything like that. So I'm going to take them off immediately and make my own. Ooh, there's something I read about. This kit does not get any love at all in things that I see online. Part of it is they say the plastic is so old that it's brittle, and there's an example of it being brittle. I can fix that later. It's not a big deal. But I'm going to make my own rudder pedals and things. But you look at the directions here, very simple. This is going to be where seats go. I'm just going to leave those alone because I'm going to need to make my own seats more than likely. But just going to get rid of some of the edges and get things ready to go. Sometimes you use a knife to do this, and you can very carefully scrape off the edges. What you don't want to do is gouge things, which, you know, everyone's done. Granted, you got putty, you can fill things and fix it, but you want to be as careful as possible. That's good enough for that side. Let's get this one. Plastic models are so refreshing after building paper models so much. I really enjoy the paper models because you have to form all these things and shape all these things, and it's kind of a challenge. I enjoy that. When you get back to a plastic model, especially a nice simple one from your childhood like this one, it's just so much fun because you just put it together for the joy of putting it together. You're not worried about it being absolutely perfect, and you're not, you know, it's nice to have the body already made. I have to say, not having to do anything is interesting, weird. So it looks to me like first thing we do is let's test fit. And I told you in the unboxing video that this thing should fit well, and look at that. Without even thinking about it, it fits really nice. The cockpit slides in like this, and I could actually put the interior in, or the, I can actually put this thing in, glue the fuselage together, and then just pop this in like this. Goodness gracious. And then this is going to be my, like I said, my stuff for my radios and things. This detail looks so cool on there. Look at that. Look at the little stuff they've got on there. The problem is it's completely inaccurate. The whole back end there apparently was full of lots of radio equipment. So I'm going to probably put a bunch of boxes on there. But it's a shame to, I'm going to leave it and then put some boxes around the outside edge. I'll get rid of this. How about that? I'll scrape this off if I don't snap it. Because again, this is very delicate, which I didn't realize. I heard it on the internet. The internet's always telling you the truth. I was looking around for like build reviews of this. And what I found were some just sort of unboxing things of it. I found some things with like not stop motion, but things where people just show a finished product. And, you know, they're okay. A lot of written reviews on it are just scathing because it definitely, you know, has issues, I guess. But people are really making fun of it a lot and stuff. And I'm like, you know, I don't see any reason to make a terrible amount of fun of this thing because it seems to me it's a creature of its time. But I don't see any reason why it should be considered to be a horrendous kit. So when I was little, I hated liquid glue. It was the worst. I just despised it. Hey, just like a child, I just got my, I got a fingerprint on here already. That's cool. I hated it because the way it ran, and I hated it because it didn't seem to glue together. Things have changed. This glue is really nice. It glues fast. So put that little bulkhead in there. Don't need anything else in, like a tail wheel or anything. Let's just see if this, now that I got a bulkhead in there, does it change anything? No, it's beautiful. So the nice thing about this glue, this kind of glue, is that you can put something together like this and then just touch along the seam, and capillary action, or as our friends across the pond say, capillary action, which is probably correct. The British tend to say things the right way. Oops, that wasn't a good idea. It's all going to be changed anyway. But you can put this stuff along here, and it will run into all the little seams. Like put a little drop there, and that's run both directions. And here, this piece, you can just touch it, and it'll seam right in. It'll flow right in, and it's very simple. Just in a few places. It's like doing panel lines. It works really well. Hold this together a little bit, make sure it holds and sticks and all that. I'll put some up here. That went around the edge. And you can even put it down here, so it'll go in. Just to make it so that it stays. And again, we're gonna be you know, kind of modifying this a little bit here and there, and we're gonna be getting rid of the seam, what there is of it, but that is barely any seam at all. That's brilliant. I gotta say. And here again, you can't really tell that well, but there's glass that should be under here. Right? Oops. There's glass that should be under here, which we'll have to cut out once the model is together. I'm just going to use a razor saw and cut that out, and cut this piece out, because that's supposed to be glass, I believe. So I'm going to put that in. I don't know why they went to all the trouble to make that rather complicated bulbous nose, and then not do anything with that underside. You know, both of these. That's kind of weird. But anyway, I didn't design it. But look at that. fuselage together, basically no seam. If you were a child and you wanted to put this together, here you go. I'm really curious to see how the glazing fits. That'll be kind of fun. Well, the next step is the glazing. We're not going to put that on quite yet. We are going to put on our rudder, which is over here next. And we're not going to, we might cut off the elevators and make them droop slightly. We're not going to change our rudder though. We're going to leave our rudder as is. But yeah, a lot of people, it seems like they really don't give this kit much love, and they talk about how horrible it is and everything. And I guess it doesn't, you know, it's not what you would call state of the art by any means, but I wouldn't say it's a terrible little kit. And my goal with this is to build it, add a little detail, and see if it stands up to some other kits. Can I set it next to a Hasegawa Ju-188, which I have out in the garage, and not laugh? Look at that, it snaps into place. That's beauteous. That's really, really nice. There's a little bit up here. I want to get rid of some of that. Goodness gracious, that's beautiful. So I will put a little bit of glue in here. And when you use this kind of a glue, if you've never used it before, it does go all over, it rolls everywhere. But sometimes you got to put some on, let it dry, and then put on more. And then you get a good bond. It's almost like using contact cement. That should be sufficient. I'm just going to stick this in here like that. Make sure it's straight, because I do think I'm just going to make this with a straight rudder. That we don't have to worry about how the rudder pedals are going to be when I build them. Okay, look at that. That's together. Now the next thing they say is put on the canopy, which, oh yeah, we didn't put this in yet. What am I thinking? Because this can go in right now, because I can use it as a base and I can get in here. There's so much room. I can very easily, that's beautiful. Man, that's so nice. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm just going to put some glue right here along on these shelves. And that's all that you need. Because what I'll do is use little bits of, and that's what we'll do later. Today we're just going to try to put the model together, kind of. Because really what we'll need to do, there it is, boom, and it's straight. I mean, you really can't, ask for much more than that. I got no problems. And these gaps and things will go away because we'll put various junction boxes around here. We're going to put lots of stuff here. This is where the gunner seat goes, apparently. There's the pilot, and there's his stick, which I like. And we'll put our rudder pedals up here. There's other accoutrements that go up here. Part of the fun of building these models, especially old ones, is there is no interior. And so you have to go out and find what it looks like. So it's not automatic. You got to figure it out for yourself. So since, I gotta be careful with these, because if it's as brittle as the other, I just want to see how these fit. I'm really curious, because I don't know if they'll fit at all. I mean, I hope they do, but I'm not certain. Be nice if they did, because I'll either use these as is. I mean, they're thick, like the glazing itself is thick, but the little, wow. Yeah, I mean, it looks thick, but it looks clear. And the question is, can I use it, or do I want to just make my own? And making your own is great, except vac form canopies are very difficult to work with. They are very delicate. And what I tend to do with those is, when you're putting on all this paneling or all these canopy frames, usually you mask things off and paint them, airbrush them. What I probably do if I do my vac form canopy is I will likely just I will likely just sort of not use paint. I'll probably just paint a piece of tape or decal film and put them on here. And that works out pretty well. It looks really good when it's done because it's very straight and the edges are nice. So let's see here. Can I very delicately put a smidgen of glue on here and not have it run every bloody where, and just have it so that it gives me a little bit of a glue up. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just enough to give me an idea of, is it gonna look half decent on the body here. Okay, and what's cool is, you think, why would they make something with a canopy that splits down the middle? Well, except for back here, the rest of this doesn't look so bad. It's right along a panel line, or it's right along a piece that should be that way. So let's just see how bad it is. I'm just sort of, look at that. It's the right width. It's the right width. There's a little bit of mismatch back here, but that's where a machine gun goes. Look at that. See, if I vac formed this, it'll go on easily. Wow, that looks great. Okay. That looks really good. I'm so pleased. I never thought that would happen. No offense, Matchbox. I just didn't think that was a possibility. I wonder if the people who did the original molds and stuff on this, who did the real modeling, of course, it wasn't computer, it was people building things and then making the molds. It was artistry as far as I'm concerned. I wonder if any of those people are still with us. That would be really cool to talk to some of those people and find out what it was like to build this stuff the way you're supposed to build it, in the old ways. You know, I'm satisfied. It's going to fit. I think it's going to fit pretty well. So let's move on. I'm not going to use it yet, so that's okay. Okay, step 4. Ooh, stabilizers. Now, here's a stabilizer. Here's a stabilizer. Question here is, I am going to want to put panel lines on these, and I am going to want a couple, and I am going to do I want to bend the elevators? I don't think I will. It looks like more trouble than it's worth. So what we're going to do, make sure there's a little seam in here that's raised a little bit. I'm just going to pull that off with the edge of my knife so that it is flat. And can I, if I put this on here, let's say I do, oh my gosh, the fit. Oh, jeez, do I have any glue? Can I use my, I think I can. I can put panel lines on, I'm saying after I've glued it on. So I think I'm going to be okay. That's beautiful. How does this one fit? Sometimes they have them sided. In this case, they don't. It just fits, and there's barely even a line there. Man, I'm so far really impressed with this. It's exactly what I wanted. It's just a fun little model to put together so far. So I'll put a little bit of glue here, and a little bit of glue here, and I'm just going to slide this in. And then I'll run a little glue along here, and that will get all of the inside. You can see it's even spilled out, but that's okay. And just a little bit of fiddling and it's straight. Gosh, why make fun of this? Maybe there's something lurking in somewhere that's going to be destruction and death, and I'll hate it. You know, that might be a possibility. I tend to look at old kits through rose-colored glasses because I like putting old kits together. So maybe I like the old Airfix and the Matchbox and all this. So maybe I'm just being a little stupid. But right now, I haven't put a tail together that's that much actually perpendicular in 100 years. I mean, okay. Look at that big old stabilizer. That's really cool looking. This must have been a real neat airplane to fly. Yeah, and see, these are raised, but I can get rid of those and I can add other things. This needs to be together anyway to put panel lines on. So it's okay to put it together, and I think I can work with these too. When I put on my panel lines, I'm going to do sort of like another friend of mine in Canada. His name is Vic, and he's an amazing model builder. I mean, he would build this and make it look like a masterpiece, much better than what I can do. But what he does is basically make his panel lines, they go through the primer. And that, that turns out to be really good. Now, do I want to play with the engines and make actual engines? I mean, here's what they have for the front end. They said BMW engines, I think, in them, like on the Focke-Wulf 190. And I think those are supposed to be these thin fins that go around. Question is, do I want to fix that? And the answer is going to be probably not, because I want this to be a fun build. I'm going to spend my time on panel lines and interior and getting the windows right. So I think what I'm going to do is build it as is, and that is okay with me. Maybe I should do a better job, but let's see. Let's see. We'll see what happens. I can always decide to drill it out and then put new pieces in later. So, that's a possibility. One thing I remember my dad used to do with me all the time, he built plastic models on occasion. He built the Aurora or Lifelike or whatever it was at the time, Gotha, German bomber. He loved that thing, and the Falls D3. But he built flying models. He was big into flying models. He thought plastic models were kind of silly because they don't do anything, and everything's formed. He liked to actually build everything. And I used to think, old man, I like these, and these are fun to build, and all this, and instant gratification, all that good stuff. Here are the spinners. But he would counter with, you should, if you're going to build these, you should make all the little parts that are supposed to work. So I'd build him something. I remember building an Airfix Lancaster one time. And I went up to him, and the first thing he would do is take it, and he would blow on the propellers. And if they didn't spin, you were in deep doo-doo. No, you weren't. He wasn't upset. He would just say, well, that's kind of a shame they don't spin. And so I always thought I should try to make my propellers spin if I can, as best I can. So this plastic is brittle. You got to be really careful. That is so true. So what am I going to do? Should I make them spin or not? And if I do, I got to put them on now, which would mean, yeah, let's see how they fit. It depends how much I want to do with this, because I'm having so much fun just already putting this thing together that it's kind of like, do I really want to make my life more difficult, or just enjoy it as is and work on a nice paint scheme and work on panel lines and decals and an interior and just, and leave well enough alone. It's supposed to be sort of a fun build with a slight twist. So maybe I am just going to do it as is. Now, I think Italaria, something Italian. They make some nice plastic models, and I believe they make one of these. And it's probably a more finesse, I'll say. I won't say it's better because I never built it, but probably more finesse and more for the serious model builder. At least that's what I think. So you know, I could maybe build that someday if I wanted to build another one of these and make it a little bit nicer. But for the Matchbox kit, for what it is, we're gonna gussy up the interior, paint it nice, put on some panel lines, and maybe just let her roll and see. Now, this thing is, oh yeah, I got more stuff to clean up here. That's, you know, paper models, you gotta color edge seams and things. Plastic models, you gotta clean up all the flash on the side. Oh, that's another thing. This model, if it really is from early, I think it's an early box anyway, there's 0 flash on it. So flash is a little bit of plastic that when they make these, the liquid plastic, it squishes out of the mold and goes around, and basically you see this film on a lot of parts. And some of the flash that you have in kits is just horrendous. And I guess the more they use the molds, the more that happens, which kind of makes sense. And so it's sort of amazing that there's 0 flash on it. I mean, very little. I'm trying to see if that line there, if I can leave that line, is that supposed to be there or not? My gut instinct is it's not supposed to be there. But if we put, let's do some test fitting here. We put that together onto that, fits very well. And then put this on here. I could still get to it and take it off if I wanted to. Now the issue is, if I want to make these props spin, I got to put them on. Because you put this little number 16 in the back of them, and that holds them in place and lets them spin. I guess what I could do is do this. I could put these onto the wings when it's time. I could then put the props onto here and then leave them off, and then I could just stick these on when I'm ready. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Because if I put props on there, getting at this is going to be really difficult. The other alternative is to put the propeller on and don't have it spin, which is, I think, what I'll do, Dad. I'm so sorry, because that would make much more sense. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I feel horrible, but my father will understand. Because let's face it, I don't tend to play with these as much as I used to when I was little. I still have them hanging up like in my office at work, and I'm a biology teacher, but it's really fun when students come in my office and they're like, what's all these airplanes? They think you're an engineering faculty member. And it's like, nope, I got no idea about anything about engineering. No clue. Completely worthless with math and numbers and all that. But I like airplanes. So, yeah, this is really rough. I like this. And the idea here is to put most of this together in front of you, kind of in real time. And I'm not rushing, but I also don't want my camera to overheat, but I also just want to get it done and see how it goes. So we'll leave the spinners off for now. We'll put the props on later, but we will put these on in just a moment. So the next big thing is the cool part, which is the wings, to really make this thing start to pop a little bit. So we got wings, we got wing panels on the outside. This thing has a really weird aileron in there, and I don't know if that's too much for the real airplane or not. I still think it's fine. It's going to be good. Let's take these off of the sprue. Again, nothing is cracked yet. I heard people say that they have done things with this, and the whole, like, the wing has snapped into 3 places because of the age of the plastic. Because the plastic does feel kind of brittle to me. The little rudder pedals I cut off surprised the heck out of me. I was not expecting that. And so I have to sort of be careful, because you don't, and that's when these little cutters come in handy, because they're going to work better than, be a little more delicate compared to a knife just going in there, barreling in there without taking prisoners. It's probably a better idea. So, I don't know. People watching this, do you build old kits? Do you like the brand new kits? Do you care? What do you build? What do you enjoy? Are you liking the paper models? The paper models are so much fun. But, you know, I build everything. I really do. I build plastic. I build paper, obviously. I build stick and tissue free flight models. They're a lot of fun. They all have their little idiosyncrasies, and they all have a certain charm about them. I think as I've gotten older, what I've decided is what I like is working with my hands. I like to woodwork and stuff. My wife has got me to knit. I started to crochet, which is fun. So I think I'm probably somebody who just likes to create things, and I like to do it with my hands. And it's just an enjoyable pastime to do anything like that. I wish I could do things like knit better, like my wife does. Because when she makes something, she uses it. You know, she actually wears it and stuff. I make these models; they just sit and go like dust. Hence, that's why I'm not going to make this prop spin. I wish I'd had a hobby that was a little bit more useful, but this keeps me off the streets. And the history of them and stuff. And one of the things I like to do too, every time you build a new model that you don't know much about, or an airplane you don't know much about, or a tank or a ship or whatever, it's fun to collect all of the data, up your library, find some neat books and get them. And I don't feel bad about that. I have basically books for almost every airplane I've ever built. And granted, I have no room for them anymore, but it's nice because you have references, and you can learn what all the parts were. You know, it's like it's like building those paper ones. It's fun because you're building all the bulkheads, and you're building all those little boxes and the cockpits and all the rest. Or like this one, where I'm going to detail the cockpit. It'll be fun. Whoops! See, look at that. I chewed that right off. Be careful, you moron. You're doing all this, and you don't know what the part is. You don't know what that box does. You don't know what that wire is for. And if you are actually trying to put things together and figure all that out, it really is neat because you learn something along the way. These definitely are about learning as well. They're, you know, as historically accurate as they could be for their time, depending on what model you're building or whatever. But when you're done putting it together, you know a lot about the Ju-188. You know a lot about an Albatross. You know a lot about a Sherman tank, whatever. And that's neat, because then you're learning things. Learning is good. So it looks to me like these go together like so. And these go together like so. And you don't have to read the directions because the pins are telling you what to do. And then I just got to know which way am I supposed to have the green on top, or does it matter? Yeah, it does, because these little holes are different than these. These look like the top. They would be the top wing, I would think. They would be on the top for the probably things like for gasoline and stuff like that. So I think that is correct. So those are going to go together. And what I'll do is put a little glue around this edge. They put some glue here on those pins. And then I'll pop this on, and I'll add some glue around the edges once that sort of snaps into place. Like this. Boom. Good. See, this is model building the way it was supposed to be. This is back when you're 8 and you're building it for fun. And I mean, it's easy for old people like me to wax nostalgic, and young people are like, make me vomit. But, you know, there is something to be said for doing things like this with your hands. Of course, you could argue that computer games you're doing with your hands too. But there's something where these allowed you to have a little bit more creative, artistic, I guess, a little more artistic flow in there, more so than other things, I think. So, only iffy part here is this fits in, and this is going to hold our oleo struts, I'm sure, and it just fits in on these 2 little pins, so that should fit just like that. It's kind of tricky to get in there. I had more trouble than I thought. Help me! Because my fingers are so fat. When I was 8, my fingers could fit in there. See, Dad, you should have bought me this model long ago. 50 years ago, whatever, and then I would have been okay. But no, I have to get it now. So that, I think, is going to go in like that, and that's going to be where you're going to put your oleos. Yeah, there's 2 little holes for the oleo strut, so they go in there. So that looks good. So we're going to put our glue in there. Put some glue under there. Make sure it is flat, which it's supposed to be. Okay, that looks good. Other one on this side. I think it's going to work, so I'm not as worried about test fitting it. Again, this model is so old that I do think it's there is no or very little flash on it. That looks good. Put a little bit on here for just in casesies. There we go. So let's see. Then this just goes on top. I mean, this just goes on top. I mean, this just goes on top. Like that. Ooh, I didn't take flash off of this one. You moron. You maroon. And like I said, these stubs, I'm going to get rid of those stubs later. Now that I know this is delicate, I'll be real careful because I don't want to mess that up. So, same old thing. Just make sure you test fit it just in case. Should fit like a glove. Which it's not. It's the first piece that's giving me a little bit of a headache here. There we go. You just got to put it in the holes, dimwit. And then let's make sure that this will fit in here. Yes, I can put it in later. Okay, that's what I was checking. I was a little nervous about that. All right, so now we will do like we did before. Put some glue into the pins. Maybe put a little around here, just to sort of give it some bite. And then we can do the rest by going like that. And this will be Pretty snazzy. Okay. Other one should fit. We're just going to go with it. We're going to say it's going to fit. We're not even going to test fit it because we are just so cool. All the girls loved the model builders in school. We were a special breed. Had to beat them off with clubs, baseball bats and stuff. It was a curse. It's unbelievable. They'd look at the jocks and they'd go, oh, but they build Airfix models. And then they'd be all over you. Look at that. I mean, look at that. The color serves, the weird colored plastic serves to show you how good the fit is. Look at that. How that just comes together. And you put your finger over that, nothing, I mean, you can't feel a ridge at all. That's dang impressive. I'm sorry. That really is. I'm mightily impressed by that. I might have a little bit of warpage here. So I am going to clamp that end and clamp this end just to be sure. Just let it dry. Okay. So while we're sitting here wasting time, I'm going to take one of these engines and put it on. They're keyed. It's got a little notch there, or a ridge of plastic, and the notch here. So that fits right like that. I mean, it snaps into place. Love it. Run some of your glue around the outside. I might rue the day of not dealing with the exhausts immediately, but you know, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Look at that. I mean, it's straight. It's absolutely like dead straight. Dang. And I can sand off this ridge a little bit if I want. I got to look at the real airplane and see if there was a ridge there between on these rings. Not sure. And not putting the prop on, I could do something with that interior of that fan if I wanted to, but who knows. Now, can you mess these up? No, you can't. They don't go, yeah, there's that. Yeah, they go like this, okay? Now, these are a very loose fit. So these are going to have to be carefully put in. So what I'm going to do is make sure those are flat, which I think they are. Maybe rough them up a little bit too. What you might do, what you could do, is put a little bit of plastic right along the tab, the tongue. Put an extra piece of very thin plastic, and then that would give you a little bit more, it would be a little bit better. But what we're going to do right now is just see if we can sort of glue it. And with this newfangled cool liquid glue, I bet you holding it for a few seconds will be sufficient. But look at that, just sanding it a little bit already got better. And it should be, there's no dihedral in it, it's just like that. And then we'll fill the seam. All right, so put a nice big bit of glue on there. Make sure you get it on the tongues as well. And this might be one that I might let dry and kind of soften up the brittle plastic for a second, and then put another little coat on. And don't worry if you smear a little bit, because we're going to be sanding these joints anyway, and we're going to be putting putty on them, so that's going to be just fine. Maybe I'll put a little on this side as a way of basically putting on my second coat. And a little bit more just to be sure. You can put too much on and then it'll never dry. It'll take forever. Okay, so let's put this in here. We're hoping for a nice, I'm just going to hold it in place for a few seconds. And my hope is that that will be enough to keep this thing, because that glue dries pretty fast. It isn't super glue or anything, but it dries quick. That looks great. Oh my goodness, it looks wonderful. Looks really, really good. It tells you. I'm going to put that on the edge of that tab, and I can just set this up like this. Maybe. Yeah, it looks good. Jeez, it looks good. I'll just put this over here. No, I gotta put it somewhere where it'll hold up. Let's do that. Let's go like this. There, I made like a base. And I'll just set that down. There, it's kind of vertical. Just want it to dry like that. Okay, so this should be dry. Same thing on this side. Very same thing. We're in home stretch, peoples. We are in the home stretch. Find your little locating thing, slide it in place. It snaps into place. Oh, God. There's something refreshing about making a little model like this. It really is fun. I'm sitting here, been doing this for just, I don't know, 20 minutes. I don't know. For you, it feels like hours. And you've already got things together. Oh. What we'll do is we'll get these together. Hopefully we'll put the wings on the body. Curious to see how those fit. And then we'll call it quits. And we'll come back again later and start doing some other stuff with it. But this is just to show you how much fun this is. My wife's not here. I'm all by myself. I'm on spring break. Turned in all my grades. Oh, it's just glorious. And let's see how this fits. As beautiful as the other one. Golly. Okay, same old, same old. Put some glue on here. Let that dry for a second. It'll be really fun to gussy this up just a little bit. I mean, this model, again, I couldn't find, it's very hard to find even on eBay, Evil Bay. And so there are some in the UK and some in Germany, but I only found like 1 or 2 in the United States, which is where I'm from here. And that's okay, except that they are expensive. I mean, this model, when I bought it, or when I tried to buy it, would have been at most about $3. And yes, there's inflation and everything else, but still a lot of money. And a little bit of splooge out is okay. Because we're going to sand those, we're going to put... The funny thing is, once these are together, they're no different than the panel lines that the Matchbox trench builder made. I mean, it's amazing. Oh. So I got a little bit of dihedral on there I don't want. So let's bring that down a smidge. Oop. Yep, there's a fingerprint. Good job, good job. Just like old times. I'm making sure that it's level. And that looks fantastic. God, just... I just don't know what to say. I haven't done something like this in ages. Basically just slap something together just for enjoyment. And, you know, if this is a paper model, this would have taken how many weeks to put together, even in 1/72nd scale. It's kind of a joy to have things kind of together. I've got to say. It's a nice change. I'll put it that way. All right, so this one is relatively dry, enough to test fit onto my wing root. Looks beautiful. It's got the right dihedral because the airplane did have some dihedral. Yeah, that's going to look good. It's a loose fit. So I might go and get a little bit of plastic. I'll be right back and put it on this tab just to help it out a little bit. You can relax and go to the bathroom or something. Okay, so what I did was go out in the garage and grab a very thin piece of plastic. You can buy these at the hobby store, super thin. And I just cut off a couple little pieces here. And what I'm gonna do is glue one to here. The notion being that'll make it a little thicker. I'll test it and see. Let it dry and see if it makes it a little thicker. This one is kind of ready to test on the other side. Same story, very loose fit. It's probably okay, but you know, why not put a little insurance policy on there? It might make it easier to fit. So put that on there. Kind of squeeze them shut. Give it a few moments to dry. Let's see how it goes. So yeah, here's my oleo struts. So they will fit. There's a small hole peg and a fat peg, so you can't mess up, and they fit in there like that. That's going to be great. My glazing looks like it's fitting nice. My wings are on. There's very little seam here. I mean, I'm gonna tone down these lines anyway, and I'll get these down, so that'll make it look a little better. The saddest thing is I won't have spinning props, unless I just stick them in and don't put in a fastener on them. I could do that. Okay, so let's just see. Maybe I'm pushing it too fast here, but let's just see. I think that's going to be much better. I think it's going to be much better. And actually, I think it needs to be up. Let's see. I think I need to have it up against this more. In other words, I have it too far back. It needs to be up against the root, because that is going to be where the thing glues. So let's put them up against the root like that. Squeeze them. Same on the other side. And if this isn't enough, it's real easy to add more. And if it's too much, you just sand it off. It's no biggie. It's easy peasy 1, 2, 3Z. Because it's easy to add more and then sand it back for just a perfect, kiss fit. But like I said, this thing it's going gangbusters. Really pleased with it. Back here is going to be my tail wheel, which will fit in there, but I'll leave that off for now. It's good to have all these parts on, even though it seems like it's going to be harder to work with, because you're going to have to fill these seams where the stabilizer is, and then you're going to sand this down or use a knife and do this to get rid of the seam. And you can see there's a little bit of off here color and a little bit in the middle, so there's a dip there. Otherwise, this is it's a flat blade. It should come across flat. So this is going to have to be sanded and smoothed out, which is fine. And then I'll put in new panel lines, and I got to find a half decent 3 view of the airplane to make sure it looks right. And like I said, I'm going to cut these out. In preparation for my wing going together, I'm going to rough this up a little bit so there's a little bite on the glue on the plastic. Just something to give it a little bit of microscopic oomph when it finally comes in there. Same with this. just a little. Now, let's see if this works better now. This is glued on there. That goes in, and then it's really a tight fit. Probably needs a little more, is my guess, because it goes in, and then it's loose again. Probably needs a little more. So I'm going to cut a tiny little piece off again and put it on the other side. We are flying by the seat of our pants here. This is all just to see if we can make this thing fit a little better. You know, it could be that this is all a waste of time, and we could just butt join it and it would be fine. I'm just a little nervous. And I've been bit before, so I wanna make it turn out. So hopefully this will work. Anything that we can do is sand off some if it's too much. Put on more and then sand it off. Up against there. Let it go. Let it dry. Okay, now we got it double-sided. So maybe double-sided will be what we want. In the meantime, while it's drying for a second, let's take a look at these decals. And they're rolled up, but they look kind of thin. And the color registration is there. I might be able to use them. What I want to do is find a nice color scheme of the airplane and see which one I want to kind of do. I don't know enough about it to know what they were colored like. I think they were the normal sort of German two-tone green and like a light blue or light gray or something on the bottom. And then what they did was overcoat them with something, whether it's a dazzle color for the Mediterranean or if it's white for the steppes of Russia, whatever. Okay, now we're getting to the point where it's nice and tight, a little too tight, just a tiny smidgen. So what we're gonna do is kind of sand this down a little bit, just in increments, and slowly get it together, because we want it to be a tight fit. We want it to be tighter than it is, I guess. At least I do. We want it to sort of be a little better. That's more like it. I like that. All right. So now, this piece has moved in, which isn't the best. That means it's going under the plastic here. It's going to be all right. It's going to work, but I do want to kind of make it stick. Okay, so let's put this in. It's just like the wing panel. Let's see if she works. See if it does like I want it to do. Slide it in. See what happens. Moment of truth. It's a tighter fit. Beautiful. Holding it in place just long enough for it to dry. Start to grab and bite. And this glue, you know, again, it isn't super glue, but it dries fast. The stuff I used to use when I was little, I hated it. I liked the old Tester's orange thing. Oh, it looks great. It looks great. So that's fantastic. So let's test fit the other side. See if that's going to go in or if it needs a little, yeah, it needs some sanding. Okay. We got to figure out how to hold this up. That's good. Let's sand this down a little bit. I guess you could also open up the hole in the fuselage, but I think sanding these down is a lot easier. That's about what I did on the other one. Again, the model is so clean that it should, what you do to one side should be about what you do to the other. Needs a little more on this one. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. Little more. Sand it back. Because it gives me a little more confidence if it's a little bit tighter. Maybe it doesn't matter. And it'll butt join just fine, but I want it to be a little tighter. Still a little tight. Little tight. Now I'm starting to buckle that piece there. That's not good. But what I hope that you do, if you're interested, is build one of these. Find an old kit like this. Because even if you're a super serious model builder who's won major competitions and money and all the babes are after you and stuff, you can have a lot of fun putting these together. You really can. And there's no reason to not build one of these. There's nothing wrong with this little model. And with a little bit of tender loving care, I think we will get this together and it'll be just fine. I think it will be good. I think things will look good. And when I put all those panel lines on it and stuff, you won't know that it's a model from 100,000 years ago. I think it's going to be really nice. This one is defying my expectation. It seems like it is different. So I do need to sand these down. In fact, I'm going to take the rest of this one off because this is starting to give me a problem here. It's starting to, yeah, it's not helping me at all. So let's try it again. I would love to get this on to show you. I think that's going to work. So here we go. Let's dip this off a little bit more, just to make sure that we're good. Just to make sure that this is. And again, I really am surprised. It was good to look on the interwebs and see what people thought about the model. And a couple people talking about how it was just a nightmare and it broke and all this. And I thought they're being a little melodramatic. It can't be that bad. Turns out it is very brittle. It was good to hear what they had to say. Because it made a difference. Or it's making a difference that I knew what to expect. All right, here we go. See if we can squish this in here. Like a charm. Like a madman. Hold it in place. My cat's starting to meow because it's time for him to be fed. Hold on, kitty face. Almost done. Just pulled off a little bit of glue that was out there. My dihedral angle seems high to me. Airplane had dihedral, but not quite that much. And there you go. There is the beginning of our Ju-188, put together in a fairly short amount of time. Had a good time doing it. And then the next thing we'll do is start doing things like panel lines and shoring things up, and we'll start working on the cockpit. So I hope this wasn't a complete boring snooze fest for people, because I certainly enjoyed showing you. Okay? So build as much stuff as you can and have fun doing it. Don't let anyone tell you you can't. See you later.